You're watching Mugen TV RPG Haven. Experience a fantasy like no other.
Hey guys, it's Moogalore here, and I'm back again with another video, and today I want to talk about Yakuza Like A Dragon. Now, if you guys don't know, I officially completed the game about 2 months ago, and I must say that this game is one of my favorite, and I'll dare say, one of the best JRPGs of this generation, and I really enjoyed this game. Now, if you guys don't know about my history with the Yakuza series, I pretty much never had a history with the Yakuza series. I was pretty much not into the traditional forms of the Yakuza games, which is more of a beat 'em up brawler created by Sega. I'm not really a brawler type gamer, but I do have respect for the franchise and what it has offered to the genre, and many fans all over the world seem to enjoy the Yakuza series, but it just wasn't for me. But it wasn't until around, I guess you could say, during the April Fools of, I believe it was 2016 or 2017, that Sega has showed off I guess you could say, a prototype to a turn-based Yakuza game, and it pretty much blew the internet up by storm from the Yakuza fans. And it definitely got my attention because I thought it was pretty unique that they took the Yakuza series, which is traditionally a brawler type game, and turned it into a turn-based JRPG. And that definitely caught my attention. So after that was all said and done, I said to my brothers that, hey, yo, I think this is a test to see how fans respond to it, and maybe we will get a JRPG version of the Yakuza series sometime down the line, similar to what Arika had did with an April Fool's joke of X Fighting Lair. And look what happened with that. X Fighting Lair have officially became a new game, a new release, and it still has a thriving community till this day. So I just knew right then and there that, hey, they're testing the waters to see how the fans respond. And not too long after that, they officially revealed that Yakuza Like a Dragon is in fact going to be a JRPG. Now, a lot of Yakuza fans felt betrayed. They didn't know what to think about it. They love the brawler genre, and to take their favorite series and just turn it around and make it a JRPG seemed like a slap in the face. But what was smart on their end, a person who never played the Yakuza series, they definitely hook, line, sinker me in by making the JRPG. So it caught my attention. I was like, you know what? I'm definitely going to give it a try. Now, from just looking at the trailer and just looking at the gameplay and the presentation of the game, I thought it was going to be some silly, wacky, kind of Japanese humor kind of game. And something that you need to have an acquired taste to really appreciate, especially if you're into that type of stuff. So I didn't know what to think or what to feel going into Yakuza Like a Dragon, but I know for a fact that since it was a JRPG, and in fact it was a turn-based, and it was done in a unique way that still captured the essence of Yakuza, I said, you know what the hell, I'm gonna give it a try. And boy, must I say, it was Christmas of 2020 when I had bought the game for the Xbox Series X, and man, I didn't play it on Christmas. I waited until around March to actually open up the game and give it a try. And I said to myself, why did I play this game much earlier? Why didn't I play the game when I bought it on Christmas? Because man, I certainly was missing out on this. And as I got to play the game, it gave me this nostalgia trip. Is because, you know, back in the day, I was such a big Sega fan, and Sega Dreamcast is one of my favorite Sega consoles of all time. And what happened was, when I played Yakuza Like a Dragon, it had that Shenmue and it had that Dreamcast era feel to it. And that's something that Sega has captured quite well and was still able to maintain throughout all these years. Most of the Sega games always have this arcade, like 90s arcade feel to it, and Yakuza Like a Dragon, to me, in my opinion, has that 90s arcade feel. And it feels like Virtual Fighter, a mix with Shenmue, and a mix with your traditional JRPGs. And once I stepped into the game, I was just introduced to this whole different world with the characters, the environments. And I must say that as far as RPG cast is concerned, Ichiban and his crew from Yakuza Like a Dragon, I would put them up against, my favorite RPG cast from like the Tales of Symphonia series, Final Fantasy VII, the Sekuden franchise. I put this cast up there among those echelons of RPG party members, and I must say that the cast was really well written. I love the storyline to this game. It definitely kept me invested, but most of all, the gameplay. The gameplay is what really lured me in, and I must say that from here on out, I definitely will be investing my time in the Yakuza series, since Sega had pretty much said that the Yakuza series, because of the sales and because of the new audience that they had drawn into the Yakuza Like a Dragon, the Yakuza series from now on will be a JRPG from here on out. And hey, I'm not complaining, give me more of that. But back to the gameplay, it was like they were able to mix turn-based JRPG gameplay mechanics with your traditional brawler arcade Sega type feel from, you know, the Yakuza series, Shimu, Virtual Fighter. He was able to mix all that together to make a pretty interesting gameplay mechanic. And I like the fact is that within the turn base, there's a lot of things that you can do with your party members. You can also adjust your character's classes, and the thing is, what's so funny about it is they was able to take like real life and turn it into an RPG. You know, you run around the streets, you fight homeless bums, and it kind of remind me of Earthbound, because you know, in Earthbound, if you haven't played that before, the game featuring Ness, you know, if you play Super Smash Bros, then you know who Ness is. Ness is the kid with the baseball cap. Earthbound also had that JRPG mixed with real life, where you wander the streets and you fight animals, you fight bullies, you know, you fight adults and everything, you fight dogs, you fight bumblebees, and all these wacky zany things to it, but it was fun and addictive. And Yakuza Like a Dragon also did that, because Ichiban also is a avid Dragon Quest fan. He loved RPGs. So what they did was, he has this wild imagination, and they also touched bases on this. They actually like cracked the fourth wall in a way. Ichiban says that real life is like an RPG itself. You build your character, you build your stats, you get your experience and everything. So what happens is, since he's deeply invested in Dragon Quest and JRPGs, when he fights in the streets, to him the enemies transform to different monsters and stuff like that, because he has one hell of an imagination, because he plays a lot of JRPGs, mainly Dragon Quest. So he took a lot of inspirations from that, and the fact is that you can take your classes and you can turn your characters to classes that simulates real life. You got your club promoter, you know, you got your b-boy, you got your bodyguard, you got your policeman, you got your hero, you got all these different classes, and you got your, of course, you got your singer, you got your bard, you got all these different classes that are like professions in real life in some shape or form, and turn them into classes that have their own unique skills and abilities that you can apply to your character. And once you learn those skills, you can pick another class, and those attributes from the previous class that you learned those abilities from can cross over to, you know, your current class. So there's a lot of mixing and matching, and of course some characters are proficient in one class better than, you know, another character who may use that same class, which is pretty unique. Now, another thing that's pretty cool about it too is, when you're fighting your opponents, you know, in these environments, you can interact with bikes, signs, and other type of objects that may be littered around the area, and you can pretty much have your character pick them up and use that to add to the damage multiplier to take more damage. And if you set up your positioning just right, you can knock your enemies into other enemies, which causes a domino effect, this ragdoll physics, which is funny too. And when an enemy hit another enemy, it adds more to the damage, which I think is pretty unique and pretty cool. Now, also, there's a relationship system where you can build a relationship between all your party members, so you can get to know your characters. So when you build that infinity with those characters, it also affects how they cooperate with one another during battle. So say, for instance, with Ichiban and Psycho, for instance, I can, you know, if I knock an opponent to the ground, and if me and her connection is pretty high with one another, she would capitalize off the attack if you're standing beside one another, or she's in close range after you knock the opponent down, and she'll capitalize and stomp on them, and vice versa. So every character has different unique abilities depending on where your relationship level is with those characters, which you can build that relationship by completing various different tasks, by going to different restaurants, which is pretty cool, where you can pick up different combine different ingredients with one another. When you eat, it builds that infinity meter up, and then when you go to the cafe or you go to the bar, you can pretty much do the side quests. Now, speaking of side quests, I love what they've done, because the side quest was just as good as the main story, especially with each individual character. Because when you go to the bar, when you max out the infinity for that character, for that relationship, you'll be able to unlock side quests or side stories to get to know more about each of the characters, which gives the character much more depth. That's why I got so attached to all the party members. Everybody had something interesting about them, and I wanted to know more and more about the characters, which is pretty cool. And this is also one of the first JRPGs where I tried to do as much content as possible. I try to do as many quests as possible, almost try to complete all the quests as possible. And they also had a I guess you say an arena tower as you go up each tower, which is side content, where as you get to the top, you get a final, I guess you say, rare weapons. And this is the first time I actually ever completed a tower in any type of JRPG. I completed and got the Golden Hero's Bat, which is extremely broken, because when Ichiban swings the bat, it hits a gust of wind and it hits the entire area and knocks all the enemies down. Now, speaking of weapons, you can also upgrade weapons, or you can craft new weapons by finding material littered around the world map, or I guess you say the hub world, and then you can go to the love shop, where you go and you can get the young woman to craft your weapons. And I must say this, once I got into like the middle portion of the game, Psycho was one of my favorite characters, because you know I use her for the healer class and the songstress, and she heals a lot of our characters and stuff. But then I went back to like the club promoter class for her, and I don't know, that was the best thing I've ever done, was because I had crafted this special purse. I don't know why, but I wasn't paying attention to it with the attribute or the side effect of what the purse does until I got into battle. And for some strange reason, when I used to attack the enemies with the purse, like the enemies will automatically start simping for her. They used to start simping, and they just turn around and start attacking the enemies on the screen. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? So they wouldn't attack your party members, and they definitely wouldn't attack Psycho. So what I used to do was I used to just get the entire field just simping for her and everything, and it made my battles from that point all into the end of the game so easy. And the thing was, I had pretty much crafted stronger purses than that purse, but they didn't have that side effect of charming your enemy. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna keep this purse throughout the rest of the game, and the game had just essentially became a breeze. And that's the thing, it's just so much wackiness, but in a fun way, when it comes to this game, and the characters are so charming. When I say the story, man, now I will say this, besides Xenoblade Chronicles The Golden Country of Torna for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, games don't really get me in my feels, like in my emotions and stuff. But Xenoblade Chronicles 2 The Golden Country of Torna, which I'll talk about in a separate video, that was the first game that actually made me like get in my feelings. I actually shed a tear. I never shed a tear from a video game before. Well, I'll say it again, with this game, this was another game that made me shed a tear, because man, the strong brotherhood that Ichiban had with the main protagonist was, oh my god. The acting, and the English dub, I know you guys probably want to cuss me out, but yes, English dub here. I felt the impact, I felt the emotions coming from these from the English dub, from the voice actors. The voice actors had done an amazing job with all the characters in the game, and I felt every last moment in this game, especially at the end, which I won't spoil if you guys are want to get into the game after watching this video. But I will say, by the time I got to the end, I literally shed a tear. I was literally in my emotions at the end of this, because the performance and what was going on, I really felt it. And because of the side quests, because of the time I spent with these characters, I grew really invested. I invested myself in these characters. I grew attached to these characters. So that's how you write a good RPG. That's how you write a good story. That's how you create great characters where you feel some type of emotion, anger, sadness, happiness, and or you feel some type of, you feel like these characters are like your extended family. Even when you turn the game off, you think about the characters. You think about what they could be possibly doing in the world that you just left when you turned the console off. And Sega has successfully pulled it off when it comes to Yakuza Like a Dragon. And because of that, it made me a big fan of Yakuza. So now that I finished the game, Sega had announced another series called Judgment. And then you had the sequel called Last Judgment, which, for those who love the traditional Yakuza games, they decided to take the Yakuza formula, the traditional formula, and give it to the Judgment series. Now, I'm going to do a whole different video on the Judgment series because it looks like the Judgment series will be discontinued. And I will go into further details about that, probably most likely this week, for those who don't know what's going on with that. But because of Yakuza Like a Dragon, I'm now a fan of the Yakuza series. Like, bring it on. Like, I'm gonna go back and play some of the older Yakuza titles just because of that. And I believe that this is the best thing that developers should do. Take some of their franchises and do spin-offs, or do something that's going to bring in a different audience who play different genres. That's what Nintendo tried to do with the Hyrule Warriors series. So those who never were big fans of the Warrior series may try it now after playing, you know, Hyrule Warriors, and vice versa. So them making this into a JRPG was the right formula to get me into the Yakuza series, because now I want to give the Yakuza a try. Even though I'm not really into the brawler genre like that, I'm much willing to give it a try because it showed me what the series does have to offer as far as story, character development, and, you know, the different type of gameplay mechanics that they have in this series. So I definitely wanted to give it a try. But overall, man, this was a really good game. Hats off to Sega. Sega really had created a phenomenal series, especially Yakuza Like a Dragon. So I'm looking forward to Ichiban and the rest of his party and see where they're going to go with the sequel, because of course they left it off onto like a cliffhanger. And for those who never played the Yakuza series, you do not need prior knowledge of the past Yakuza games, even though that some of the Yakuza characters from throughout the series make cameos. But this game is more of the passing the torch of, you know, the next of the next protagonist, which is Ichiban. He's the protagonist of going forward with the Yakuza series, and you will find out why I say passing the torch when you play the game, because I thought it was quite interesting. And even though I never played the past Yakuza games, I was familiar with some of the characters because of how much, you know, some of my friends and some YouTubers praise the Yakuza series. So I've seen some of the characters before. So one character is going to pop up in the game that's going to make you go crazy if you're a fan of the Yakuza series. Then you know what's up. But this is a passing the torch, so you don't need prior knowledge to anything. You can just dive right into this game and enjoy yourself without knowing anything of the past games, because it's so far detached from the other ones. Even though they're in the same universe, you will see the characters and everything, but it's loosely connected to the past games, so you don't have to worry about that. But that's pretty much it for this video. I know I rambled on a lot about this game, but I must say that I've really enjoyed this game. I really love this game, and I recommend this game. If you were sitting on the fence on Yakuza Like a Dragon, I say get off that fence and give this game a try, because trust me, believe me on this, you're definitely missing out on a great series, a great franchise, and just an overall great game in general. Sega created a great game, so I definitely suggest that you give this game a try. So if you like the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want to stay informed for more Yakuza or Sega news, definitely hit that bell to be notified. And if you are a fan of Yakuza series, definitely let me know which Yakuza game within the series is your favorite, and definitely give me your thoughts of Yakuza Like a Dragon, knowing the fact is that they strayed away from traditional brawler and made it to a JRPG. Definitely let me know in the comment section below. So this is Mugen Lord signing off. I'll see you game fiends later. Peace out.